every year I run this thing called the Lettering Style Challenge. 31 days, 31 prompts, one lettering artwork a day. And it started as a way to explore new styles, improve my skills, while helping other artists do the same. But honestly, it became so much more than that. And this year, I decided to take it a step further. My theme is all about sensory lettering, so creating lettering that looks like it could be felt or tasted, and giving each piece that painterly look, creating an atmosphere. And for today's prompt, horror, I picked Michael Jackson's Thriller. It's spooky, it's so iconic, and I really wanted to give it my own twist. And what's different now is that I'm not doing a reel for this one, because all of my previous videos got blocked for using the music. And honestly, that's what pushed me to move to YouTube. Here I can actually show you the process, the story behind the art, and everything I've learned along the way. Because sometimes the real horror isn't the hard work that you have to do, it's realizing how much time we spend trying to please the algorithm instead of ourselves. So every piece always starts the same way, by doing a lot of research. And because the prompt is horror, I went straight to the Stranger Things logo. And for me, this font really screams horror. It's actually called ITC Benguiat from the typeface designer Ed Benguiat, who designed this font. It really reminded me of a horror movie, and I used that as a starting point. I then went to one of my favorite books, Paperbacks from Hell by Grady Hendrix, where you can find so many beautiful horror lettering. The next thing I do is sketch a lot. Like I do lots of sketching, and I keep those sketches extremely rough. I don't spend any time refining anything. It's just to get a vibe, a general composition, and the style of the letters I'm going for. And I like to have my research next to me, so anything that I see and that I think could fit the prompt, I just draw it. I just roughly put it up on paper, and that's how it all starts. Always, like I always do that. You can see that step as a warm-up, because staring at a blank page is so intimidating, having so many options. But as soon as you put a mark on the page, things feel less scary. Talking about scary, I wanted this prompt to really feel scary. My idea was to have pomegranate, because you know that for this challenge, I'm playing with sensory elements, and I wanted things to smell and look like they would be glossy and tasty and juicy. And that's why I thought that would fit perfectly for the prompt, horror. So if you think that does not fit the actual Thriller song, that's because of that. That's because I'm doing a challenge, challenging myself to mix things together, unconventional things. And the goal is not to make it perfect, but the goal is to experiment. Once I'm done with the sketches, I move on to Procreate. I take a picture of the sketch and then start refining my lettering. I spend quite a bit of time on this part. I always want to make sure that all of my letters look consistent, that I'm happy with the overall composition and the overall shape and that it actually fits the vibe. And because this one, like I said, was horror, I went with those very pointy serif. I went with something quite symmetrical. I have the baseline on an arc and decided to keep it fairly simple. I'm only drawing the stroke so that I can play around with a bevel effect inside later on. So drawing just the stroke is actually quite nice, but you have to be careful when you're drawing just the stroke, as it can be quite difficult to check the width or the balance of your letters, because you're only seeing the outline, you're actually not seeing the shape as a full shape, a solid shape, and that can be tricky to check your kerning and check that your letters are actually the same width and stuff like that. So I'm used to that, but if you're just starting out drawing letters, I would recommend just drawing the full letter, not just the stroke. Or at least start with the full letter and then you can play with the stroke later on. Then I move on to adding the decorative elements, and in that case I'm going with pomegranate, like I said, and I want them to be secondary. Like, I don't want them to be the main focus. I want the lettering to be the main focus, but in saying that, I'm also challenging myself here to make them a little bit bigger than usual. I usually have my decorative element way smaller, but in this one I wanted to experiment. You'll see me adding those decorative elements in a certain way. I spend, again, a lot of time figuring out where to put them and making sure they look natural and organic, that they don't look staged. So that's why they have different sizes, different angles, and there's always an odd number. These are all the things that I have been able to figure out over the years by doing it so many times and observing, really. And I'm so excited to be sharing that with you in my upcoming live lettering workshop. So I'll be going over how to place those elements, how to make sure they are balanced, how I kind of use symmetry to make sure it works and it doesn't at the same time look too staged and repetitive and boring. Now, the next thing I do is work on the rendering, making sure everything looks as realistic as possible. That's where I would choose a light source. That's where I decide on which color to use for my highlight, which color to use for my shadows, and which color to use for my ambient light, which is something, again, I've been working on lately. I've read this book called Color and Light by James Gurney, which is my new Bible on colors. It's got everything that I've ever wanted to know. And if you understand how colors work, you literally can't get it wrong. And what I've taken away from this book is really this idea that when you are struggling with a color palette, if you just pick colors that are not too far from each other on the color wheel or work as a combo, like complementary colors, for example, and if you slowly build it up, you can't really get it wrong. And I was so guilty in the past of just adding so many colors, using very bright colors straight away, and that was extremely difficult to manage. Like, I'm not saying that the way I do it is the only way of doing it, it's just what works for me. I've been able to get some really good results with this technique and it works. So yeah, super excited to again share that with you in my live lettering workshop. This method is not magic, it's actually science, and everything can be controlled by rules. And obviously you can break those rules, but you need to understand those rules. And this is what I want to share with you in the workshop. So hopefully you guys will join me. It's going to be pretty awesome because it's all the things that I've been working on lately. And because it is live, you guys will be able to ask me any question, and at any point during the process, if there's something that you don't understand or something that you want me to repeat or go over again, you can ask me. And if there's something that you've been wondering, you can also tell me, Aurélie, I want to know how you do that. Because sometimes with a course, I just tell you my steps, my process from start to finish, but there might be little moments in the process where you're like, I want to know how you do that instead of that. So this will be it. Now, the truth is, I could have spent more time trying to get more views. I know how to do that because I've done it. Last year, I spent so much time trying to make cool reels, and I'm not gonna lie to you, when my account reached 11 million single accounts in just 1 month, I was on top of the world. I was like, yep, this is it. My work is finally getting some recognition. That was great. But those views, in all honesty, don't really convert. I did not sell 11 million courses, and the views don't make you better, and they definitely don't make you happier. Chasing number at the end of the day is an ego thing. It tricks you into thinking that you are succeeding when really you're just performing. This year, when I had spent more time on my work, spend more time refining my skill, my craft, doing what I love, and I didn't get the views, obviously I thought maybe I'm doing something wrong. But chasing number is an ego thing, and what actually matters is the work itself. It's how much you've improved, whether you're proud of what you made or not, whether you've enjoyed it, whether it resonates with others, and that's the real win. And yeah, it's awesome when things blow up. It's awesome when you get views and comments and all that kind of stuff. But that should never be the goal. The goal isn't to be seen, it's to keep getting better. And if you do, the right people will see you anyway. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you stay motivated without worrying about how many views you get on your reels. This is Thriller, my horror prompt. A little reminder that the scariest thing in art isn't getting low views, it's losing sight of why you started. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.